All right, here we go. Here we go. So, folks, thank you so much for joining today. I want to thank each and every one of you for putting up with our last-minute webinar link change. We had a lot of interest for this webinar today, and we had to expand our capabilities. So, thank you so much for being patient with us. Today, we're talking about being a chiropractic entrepreneur. We're talking about standing out in 2020, and it's myself and my good friend and our Director of Business Development, Mr. Lucas Braga. So this is one out of a series of 3 specifically related to growth, branding, and digital marketing. So I know you're on the webinar, Todd, because I saw your name pop up a few minutes ago. So this is my good buddy Todd Askenaz. He's a uber successful chiropractor in Pearl River, New York. And last night he sent me a text and he wrote, "So excited for you tomorrow. You better kill this." Cleared my whole day for it. Now, if you know Todd, you know he likes busting my balls because that's what he does. But really, they were words of encouragement. But I actually saw his text just before I went to sleep, and I really thought about this a lot. And I was like, we better kill this. Like, you guys are taking time out of your day to spend time with us, and hopefully we're going to do our very best to create value for you. That's the goal. There's different variations in terms of what you guys know as it relates to growth, branding, digital marketing strategies. So we're going to start today probably crawling more than walking or sprinting, but we really do want to create value. And I just want you to know how much we appreciate your time. And T-Bone, thanks so much for that shout out, that text. It made my day yesterday. So as far as the agenda, we're going to do just kind of a brief intro, talk a little bit about my experience and also Lucas's. We're going to talk about the importance of the levels of awareness around consumer behavior. We're going to talk digital marketing, like exponentially. We're going to talk brand awareness. We're going to talk patient engagement. And then I think you got a special gift for our folks. I don't even know what it is. He's just going to give away something cool, I guess. All right, so quick intros. Most of you know me, but just in case you don't, I'll just give you like a 30-second rundown. So my name is Dr. Jay Greenstein. I'm actually the CEO of the Kaizo Health Group. We have essentially 4 divisions of our company. We've got 5 chiropractic rehab practices in the DC region. That's Kaizo Health. We have Kaizo X, which is a wellness company. It's all the post-rehab personal training and physical fitness work that we do with our patients. We have the 3rd division of our company is called Kaizo Clinical Research Institute. You can see that lovely young lady in the middle of the picture. That's Jenna. She's our Director of Research and Innovation. In fact, she just helped write a grant for NIH. And we just became part of a multi-million-dollar multi-year grant. So Jenna's a rock star, and we so appreciate her. And then the last division of our company is Kaizenovate, which many of you know about. We build technology solutions for chiropractors to help improve patient outcomes and improve and boost practice income. Some of you guys have seen me speak. I do a lot of speaking around the country and around the world. I also am a coach for practices, and I do a lot of advocacy work in chiropractic. Bunch of titles, but that's not really important. What is important to know is that I live and breathe for justice of chiropractic. This is Lucas. Lucas, maybe you want to tell us a little about yourself, bro?
Sure. So I'm Lucas. I'm originally from Brazil. I moved here when I was in high school. I went to the University of Wisconsin. I got my degree in biochem. I thought I wanted to be a doctor. I did a lot of research, which is really a perfect parallel to this company and what I wanted to do. I was always into fitness and stuff like that. So I got involved with Dr. J, originally on the Kaizo Health piece, doing business development for our 5 clinics. And then that translated into the wellness side, the research side, and now the tech piece. So a lot of my focus today is not only in sales and managing accounts and physicians and attorneys and stuff like that, but also digital marketing in general. And then I put some of my accolades there just to brag a little.
Well, I think they're important though. I mean, you literally, like, you grew the practice tremendously, over 300% in 1 year. And the amount of followers that Lucas was able to drive into our practice was enormous. We started with 200 Instagram followers, and now we have 8,000 plus. And so one of the reasons why Lucas is here is because he is the subject matter expert. You know, a lot of times we listen to consultants and they may or may not know what they're doing, but like, he lives and breathes it every single day. And so that's why he's the person who's going to really lead this webinar. Really quickly, I just want to start with why. By the way, Simon Sinek, if you haven't heard of this or read this book, probably should do so because it's a really important book for any leader. But my why is really about the chiropractic brand. We live in a world where there is just such poor care delivery for musculoskeletal health, and it's just I mean, I could go into a rant, but I won't, not today at least. But it's just disgraceful. And patients need to be going into chiropractic offices as opposed to other portals of entry where care delivery is completely substandard. And so this is about helping doctors of chiropractic grow their brand so we can grow the chiropractic brand, so we can grow positive impact. That's our why. So again, this is about standing out in 2020. One of the reasons why standing out is really important for me is because for many, many years, our company name was Sport and Spine Rehab. And there are so many other practices that have the name spine or sport or rehab in it. And so we were not standing out. So last year we rebranded, and Lucas, of course, was a major player in the rebrand. We're now called Kaizo Health, which I described earlier. And again, this was one of the most difficult decisions I ever made because we've been Sport and Spine Rehab for so long. That was our brand. But when we made the decision, it has taken our business to a completely different level. And so again, Lucas is going to talk about the nuts and bolts behind what we did strategically and tactically in order to drive more growth, more new patients into our practice. Speaking of that, again, 20% growth year over year. From 2018 to 2019, we added 521 additional new patients compared to 2018. So my boy here knows what he's doing. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Lucas. Why don't you get a little closer so everybody can hear you. And you're going to talk to us about, the 5 levels of customer awareness.
So for us, the question, and especially for me coming from the sales background, right, where you walk in and you want to talk to your referral source and essentially convince them to trust you, either the sales guy or even if you're the doctor going into those practices, it just seemed like a lot of wasted effort and not truly conveying, to your point, the brand of chiropractic and the value behind what we do. So that's what I actually came across the levels of awareness, because in marketing in general, this is an idea that came around in ad copywriting in the 1950s and 60s, but it's just as applicable today. And this is very important. We start every conversation with this because you have to understand your patients. Where are they at in these levels of awareness, and how can you cater your message to reach them as best as you can? So here, starting at the beginning, you have someone who's unaware, right? So maybe they're not even aware that they're in pain or that they have some kind of condition. Now, this is probably few and far between. Most of us, our central nervous systems tell us, hey, you're in pain, you need to do something about that, which brings you to stage 2, which is problem aware. I have a problem. Is there a solution for this? Again, people in our societies today, they think, okay, I'm in pain. I need a pill, surgery, an injection, something to get me out of this. So then they become solution aware. And you can already see opportunities there for you to kind of plug in your message. Someone out there has what I need. This is really where your bread and butter will be, and we'll talk in a lot of detail about this. But essentially, our jobs as marketers and your jobs as doctors is really to make them product aware, the product being your practice, obviously, and say, I understand you have this problem, I have a solution, and I want you to pick me as the solution, because there are many other solutions out there. And then 5 is aware. We know you, we love you, and either they want to consume from you, or let's say they live in Bangladesh, they can't fly to your clinic, they still love and appreciate the value that you're delivering, and they're supporters of your business, whether they're actively consuming it or not. And you see at the bottom, really this is kind of a gross oversight or just overall view of this, where a direct approach is best at the first few stages, meaning, hey, by the way, chiropractic medicine can help you with this, all the way to people who already know you. You don't want to keep hammering them, you just show them. And the growth guide talks in depth about this, and we'll talk about some more specific examples as well.
That's right. I mean, I think it's super helpful. So I know all of you out there have dealt with this as well. I was reviewing a case. This poor woman, she was in an accident. She really didn't know where to go. She was problem aware. She definitely was not solution aware. So she ended up going to urgent care. She got medication. Urgent care sent her to her PCP. She got more medication. Her PCP sent her to PT. 42 visits. I kid you not. 42 visits of physical therapy. Her pain levels decreased by about 35 to 40%. During that period of time when she was in PT, she went to pain management. The PT actually recommended chiropractic towards the end of her course of physical therapy. The pain management doctor wasn't sure if that was the right decision to be made. And ultimately, she did make the decision to go. She became more solution aware, and then she became a chiropractic patient and an advocate. but she did not have the best long-term outcome because she got to the chiropractor way too late. We have a problem in our country for sure where we are not the first choice for solution aware. And again, that's one of the reasons why we're here today. We must make the general public understand the science that's out there around patients starting with conservative non-pharmacologic care first, and how chiropractic literally is recommended in some of the most important medical literature, Lancet, American College of Physicians, as a first line of care for spine-related disorders.
And this is a huge area of opportunity for Primrose, really, because one thing that Dr. J and I talk a lot about is this statement of, I don't believe in chiropractic, right? And what we say, it's not a belief system. It's proven to be true and effective. So really, I feel a sense of responsibility to educate people and to show people what we do, because at the end of the day, I mean, we're exposed to different opinions and ignorant opinions a lot of times. So this is really where effective digital marketing, but really branding, right? What does your brand stand for? That's where that comes in. How are you engaging with your patients, your communities, and everyone around you that you come in contact with?
Awesome. So where do we start, Lucas?
So really, when it comes to marketing and just online resources, it can be really overwhelming. I think we can all agree with that. And there's so many options, and I'm sure you guys do, because I do too, in my inbox, all kinds of consultants emailing you. I can drive 20 new patients a month to your practice with this one proven method or whatever. At the end of the day, where do you even start, right? You as a doctor, you don't have $5,000 to put into Facebook ad consulting every month or something. That doesn't mean that there's nothing that you can do to start. So in our digital marketing section here, the very first section of the growth guide itself, we give you 5 actionable bullet points. And we talk some data here. It's whether, if you're doing this well, then you should feel good about it. And if you're not doing this well, this should scare you. Because truth is, the more we grow into this digital world, the more people want to connect with you and your resources, and they want to consume your knowledge on a digital realm. So you have to be ready for that. And Dr. J mentioned we have other workshops and master classes that we host, and those dive into that a little bit more. So today we'll kind of crawl to your teaser words, and we'll kind of build on that. So when people say, where do I even start, is you have to make sure that your brand is findable online, right? And that really starts with having a solid Google My Page business. Google My Business page, sorry. Making sure that your hours on Google itself, and you can go and register your business. Most of you probably already have this. Now, things that people don't know, for instance, is that reviews are 1/3 of all of your SEO. Have you had people email you saying, hey, I can boost your SEO for this much or whatever? You email them back and be like, okay, unless you're getting me Google reviews, I don't think there's any point in working together. Because at the end of the day, when people are searching for a chiropractor in Washington, D.C., 1/3 of those results are based on your reviews. Another third is based on your hours. Are they correct? Is your phone number correct and connected? Is your website there and correct? How fast does it load and all of that? And a lot of times, again, we hire these professional companies to develop our websites, when really people just need a simple, clean page with all the information that you need there, all the keywords that you need. So I'd say that is definitely the first thing to do. But that's all external. Let's not forget the internal piece as well. All the patients that you already have, the people that you already know, that you do business with, that believe in the work that you do, essentially. The second step would be make sure, and we say this here on the 5th item, is create a house list with every email you come across and segment those by patients, referral sources, network, partners, whatever it may be. And even if you're not sending them anything, just start collecting this. Make practice of every new patient, every lead that you get, anyone who calls, tell them, hey, we'll send you more information. What's your email? And collect all of these, because that is your one way of connecting with people who are not already your patients directly, but also connecting with your patients directly in a way that's providing them with value and information. And then here we talk a little bit more about social media and all of that, but really that can come later. That can really be a little overwhelming for people right in the beginning.
Sure. So when it comes to, sorry about the background noise, Guys, this is, just so you know, we've not rehearsed this. We're just kind of going through this as it is. Most people that know me know, like, I just like to keep it real, and my staff is, I guess, having a really good time out there. They're having a party or something. So I apologize for the background noise, but I do want to talk a little bit more about the idea around content, and we might get to this a little bit later, but you know, video is really, really important. Can you just talk a little bit about why video is significantly more impactful these days than other forms of content?
Definitely. First of all, over 80%, it's 82 or 83%, something like that, of all the content online, meaning all the time people spend online, is watching videos. And you guys are real people too, so you probably do this as well as you're scrolling through your news feed. When's the last time that you read 5 paragraphs of caption versus when's the last time that you watched 60 seconds of video that was interesting to you? So that's just the overall concept. But really, when I talk to other chiropractors, other business owners in general, the biggest tragedy in digital marketing is the amount of effort that's spent on something that's not going to drive results. And in this case, new patients in the door. It's very, very important for the content that you're generating, these videos that you're creating, to be native to the platform that you're posting them on. Now, that may sound a little bit confusing, but think about YouTube versus Facebook versus Instagram versus Snapchat versus your website. These are all hubs where people go to consume your content. However, the content that you're posting on there is not the same, right? Like YouTube is more longer videos. Facebook is more of a family vibe. And then Instagram, you have more of this kind of quick to consume, younger crowd. They want to get right down and dirty. And you have to use that to your advantage. So here I even put some examples. To diversify your caseload, for instance, that's a way you can do that. And also making sure that you're using videos that are native to those platforms. So for instance, leveraging things like the carousels on Instagram or on Facebook, that you're leveraging the story and Messenger and all of these different, they're called placements on the back end, but really making sure that the content that you're putting out there is going to get views, is relevant to people, and also belongs in that platform itself.
Can you just get a little closer? Because
Sure.
I want to make sure everybody can hear you. Apparently,
Sure.
getting some text saying, "Hey, moving closer. We can't really hear as well." So hopefully you guys are catching this, but we're gonna make sure that Lucas speaks up and can hear you. Let's talk about this next slide.
Right, so here you see people who have done this very well, right? They have built these brands online, and Move You, for instance, is a chiropractor and his chiropractic assistant. And they started creating all of these comedy type videos around rehab, and they've blown up. As you can see, they have 1 million followers. They travel all around the world doing workshops, etc. And another example is Vinny Rehab. So Vinny, it says he's a physical therapist. He's actually a licensed massage therapist. And he does physical therapy in his videos, and people love to watch him and they consume his content because it's directly applicable to them. Now, what do these two have in common is that, first of all, obviously they have strong brands. You can see their page is clean. Pardon the Move You kind of lingo there on the bio. That's part of their brand too. And every time that you watch the video, you know what to expect. You know who you're going to see, you know what kind of video it's going to be. And this particularly, we're using Instagram as an example because we're actually firm believers that Instagram is the best platform to grow your chiropractic business. And you see how our page works. So you see even the highlights, they're color coded. They kind of follow a common theme. We use the placement of how the layout of the bio is, just really tie together the brand itself. And the third section of our brand guide is on brand awareness. And I think that's what the next slide is about.
And so when it comes to setting up your Instagram page like this, how difficult is that?
So there are a couple of tricks here, and we hadn't even planned on talking about this, but I'll give them to you right now. The first thing that people do is, or that practices do, so Move You and Vinny Rehab are a little bit different because they're already established brands. But you notice, for instance, on the Kaizo Health here, the first line where it says chiropractor and sports rehab, that's where most people put their name again. But what you have to think is that this is what pops up when people search for your name, because our name is already up there. That's our handle. So when people search for Kaizo, what they're going to see is, instead of seeing Kaizo Health, they will see chiropractor and sports rehab. So they know exactly what your page is about. So essentially, this is one additional way for you to get in front of more people that just come across your brand randomly on like the Explore tab or something like that. Now, you will notice that our font there is bolden, right? So you can go online and find websites where you can type up your stuff and you click bolden or italicize or whatever, and it's going to spit that back to you, and you can just copy and paste onto your page. And I highly recommend doing that, because just people looking at it, it will stand out to them, oh, this is different, and it catches their eye. Now, what you don't want to do is have a bunch of stuff in your bio. Don't tell people all the what's of what you do, right? Like, oh, we are a Graston, dry needling, adjustment, soft tissue. No, tell them what you do, short, right? Chiropractor, and then list some of your accolades. And you really think about the levels of awareness again, right? Think about the people coming to you, they're problem aware. And they may even be solution aware. They're just not sure that you're the solution for them. So what you want to do here is you really want to portray this sense of unity, of reciprocity, of authority, of everyone else is using and benefiting from our service. And we're going to dive more into that in the next few slides. But really, when designing your bio, these are the first few things to think about. The first 3 lines are the lines that are going to show up before they click view more. And 99% of people don't click view more. So you want to make sure that your message is clearly conveyed through that. So for us, for instance, we tell you what we do, we tell you how good we've been at it, and then we give you some other sort of outside validation. Hey, we're an official NIH research site, right? And you can say, we're the official chiropractors for the Kansas City Chief cheerleaders, whatever it may be. And then following that, use some hashtags there that are very broad, okay? Because that is your one shot of just popping up on random searches. Some people are, I guess they follow hashtags on Instagram. So whenever you post something, just because you have these 2 hashtags, you'll pop up on their newsfeed as well. Like I follow the hashtag chiropractic, so I see chiropractors from all over the country and I see what they're doing. And I actually really recommend that you guys do this, because you're going to see a lot of crap, but you will see some of the winners, right? Like MoveU, like Vinny, and all these other people who are doing this very well. And last but not least, sorry to just kind of keep going here, but I would certainly have a call to action, book now. Whether you take insurance or not, doesn't matter. Just say cash plans available, whatever works for you. And then there's a cool little trick there, the link tree, because normally you would only be able to put one website on there. Go to linktree.com or just Google for Linktree. I think it's linktr.ee. And for free, you can create a drop-down menu that allows you to have multiple options. So for us, for instance, if someone clicked that, it would be book now, personal training, massage, car accident, and something like that. Keep it to less than 5 options, though. You don't want people clicking around too much.
So I just got to tell you guys, like, we work together literally every day, and I learn something new from him every single day. So it's super cool, because I honestly didn't know about this, because he's the grand master. All right, strong brands. Let's talk about the growth guide.
So yeah, so it really comes down to brands. And before, I know we just talked a lot about social media, but thinking about social media before thinking about a brand is really like trying to do physics before learning algebra, right? Like, and this is where most companies, not even just chiropractors, but most companies go wrong, is they're trying to push out this message without them even knowing what the message is. They know what the end result is. I want them to schedule and come in and become a patient, but they're not really clear on what they're communicating, who they're communicating with, and that just really confuses the message. So actually, the gift that we put on there is we developed a branding guide. It's a worksheet, and it'll probably take a couple of hours to complete, and you should probably work with your team and even maybe get your patients' feedback. That will really help you take a step back and see and look at the work that you've been doing, the work that you enjoy doing, the work that you wish you could do more of, whether that's athletes, elderly, prenatal, whatever it may be for you. And it walks you through these thought processes to really clarify your brand and where your brand stands. And that is the first thing, because otherwise you risk losing a lot of money, first of all, because time is money ultimately. But if you're also pushing out ads using Facebook ads, Instagram ads, whatever, you'll lose a lot of money by not having a clear and concise brand.
Yeah, and I don't want to just brush over the point of working with your team. They need to have input as to what your brand is, but also your patients. Like, find those patients that are loyal, raving fans, and bring them into the fold when actually creating or working on your brand guide, because they're going to give you outside feedback. Like you might have a perception of what your brand is, but they're experiencing your brand. So you need to make sure that you bring them into the fold.
And sometimes this is as simple as understanding the services that you provide. Obviously, we're all chiropractors. Well, I'm not a doctor of chiropractic, but I work in the field. So we provide kind of similar services. So really keep that in mind is again, solution aware and then product aware. There's other people out there that do the same thing that you do. It really is a matter of connecting with people. And that's why we have the whole section on patient engagement. But first and foremost, your brand connects with people without you even needing to be there to talk to them or anything. So people will gravitate towards something that's familiar to them, towards something that resonates with them and provides them with value.
I think also there's a really important statement at the bottom when you look at the real world's impact. And we talk about this all the time. People do business with brands that they know, they like, and that they trust. And the entire digital marketing presence really has to create that.
Mm-hmm. And that is, I think, where our, I guess, success comes from, is that you have to also understand that if you want to buy a car and the Toyota salesperson is calling you, there's always a sense of distrust. Is kind of a heavy word, but you know he's trying to sell you something. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, if your friend is telling you, man, my RAV4 is the best car I've ever owned, he's not trying to sell you his RAV4, he's telling you about his experience. And that's something in digital marketing called influence, right? Well, in the world in general, it's called influence, but in digital marketing specifically, is the number one way to grow your practice is by leveraging micro influencers, leveraging people in your community to push your message for you, rather than you trying to convince people that you're good or that you're competent or that they'll feel better. And we talk sometimes about, you know, testimonial videos. We see these a lot, right? You go on any chiropractor's page, you see a video just like this, guy sitting here, bland background, Dr. J really helped me. I feel great after this. It's terrible, right? No one's watching it. No one is really feeling any sort of connection, or they're not feeling drawn to Dr. J's practice. So how do we challenge that? And that was the number one question that we had, was how do we really challenge the status quo and shift the paradigm on its head and just have people promote our business for us? And it was through a strong brand that we were able to do that.
Yep.
I think we'll talk a little bit about that here.
Facebook ads, talk of the day.
Yeah, so Facebook ads, you know, we've had a lot of experience with Facebook ads. In fact, I mean, today we run a ton of Facebook ads, and we've completely reorganized our marketing budget to fit that in and to make it work to grow even different branches of our business too. Facebook ads are an incredible tool. Everyone should be using it. But if you don't know what you're doing, you will spend thousands and thousands of dollars and not get the results that you need. In fact, if you are a chiropractor, you're probably already being targeted by some ads. And just think to yourself, which ones am I clicking? Which ones am I not clicking? And there's always a similarity between the ones that you click and the ones that you don't. The ones that you click are the ones that are providing you with value and that you feel are talking to you specifically. Now, what does that say, right? Talking to you specifically means I'm connecting to this company, meaning I'm familiarizing myself with their brand. So again, it ties back to make sure your brand is solid before you start spending money to push a message out. Because at the end of the day, one thing that I always talk to my team about is that a bad ad costs us 3 times. It costs us manpower to make, it costs us ad budget to push, cash, and it costs us because it will harm our brand. So you are paying to force people to see something that's not at the level of your brand. Don't do that. Make sure you understand what content people are consuming organically first before you go into Facebook ads. And just to finish, the successful ad will be no different than a successful post. In fact, you can grab the successful post, turn it into an ad, and push it out for $20 a day, and you'll see people just raining in your clinic.
And guys, I mean, we experienced this, right? Like we hired some folks, just to get input from a variety of different people, some really good people as well, that got us started. And then we started to realize, like, doing the organic post first to see what your audience was consuming really drove the decision-making around ads. So, you know, please take that advice and utilize it. Don't take it lightly, because that will save you tens of thousands of dollars.
Literally.
Literally.
And the way we say it is always let your audience curate your content for you. You have insights, they're free, you don't have to pay anything. Any post on any platform, you can click and see the insights, how many people like it, how many people share it. You do this enough times, and if you need, you can create a spreadsheet and keep track of all of this. But we actually have an entire wall that's a whiteboard, and we keep track of every single point of data. You absolutely don't have to do this, but just go through your posts, see which one of those work best. And when I say posts, I really mean Instagram posts. Facebook posts organically won't do anything, and I would definitely recommend not spending your time on that, because the way Facebook is set up, they want you to buy ads to show your stuff, so they're not just going to show it for free. But Instagram is different, and you can still get in front of a lot of people organically by having content that speaks to them.
And if they're putting out good content, it's much more likely that their followers will grow, correct?
Not only will their followers grow, but we can maybe now talk a little bit about the patient engagement, right? So your followers, yes, they will grow if you're putting out valuable content. Now, I always think of this in terms of cost benefit analysis, right? Like, how much work are you putting in here for 3 followers who may live in Connecticut and your practice is in Oregon? You know, it's tough. So you really have to be smart about how you're using your time. And the best way to do this is, again, going back to the micro influencers, get people to promote your business for you. Now, the secret, right? We all want to know the secret. The secret of us growing our practice, or the digital realm of our practice, obviously we've been successful for 25 years before that, it was the micro influencer strategy. So what we did is we all, not all, but a lot of us here come from athletic backgrounds, played football, I did bodybuilding, there's people here who dance, they did this.
Yeah.
That's why I stopped, actually. I heard he was competing, and I was like, I'm done, I can't do this anymore. But we essentially, here's the thing about Instagram. People love to promote themselves, and they love to elevate themselves by associating with other brands. So what we did is we're in the DC area, so we just looked, what are some of the more popular gyms? And I don't mean like Gold's Gym or Anytime Fitness, but like the little studios that really have people that are bought into their brand.
Raving fans.
Raving fans of those businesses. One, can we align ourselves with those local businesses and offer something like, hey, our doctor will come out once a month for 2 hours and give free adjustments to your people if you send out a blast email to your 20,000 members telling them to come see us as your preferred chiropractor. Now, I don't know you guys, but 20,000 people receiving an email that essentially vouches for you from someone that they already are raving about, that's worth 2 hours of your time a month, in my opinion. So we did that first of all, but what we also did was we looked for people who are popular on social media, but you have to be careful about people who are popular locally on social media. There's a lot of people who are popular worldwide.
Kim Kardashian?
Kim Kardashian. There's people all over the world. There's a lot of booty models, all kinds of stuff that you see that have a lot of traction, but are not necessarily local, and they're not necessarily adding value to your practice. For instance, we have patients who have 250,000 followers who ask us, can I become one of your athletes? And you look at their page has nothing to do with health or anything related to that. You know, they talk about their favorite bags, or they talk about cars or something. Again, they have a lot of pull and a lot of traction online, but it's not going to bring new patients in your door. Meanwhile, there might be someone out there with 5,000 followers who is the hottest personal trainer in town, who has 5,000 followers, but he also might have 10,000 former clients or something in his network that would take his advice and be in your clinic in a heartbeat. So take time. And one thing we always talk about is spending time on social media for the purposes of growing your business, obviously, is not time wasted. And if it's not you, then someone in your team should have a time dedicated to this, even if it's 1 hour a week. For 1 hour a week, you be on our company's Instagram, just scrolling through. You can go and search locations near me, and the most popular ones will pop up. Obviously, you're not going to click PF Chang's or whatever, but you can go to World Gym. Go there, look at the most popular posts, go on those people's profile and send them a message. Tell them, hey, love to meet you, love the work that you're doing. How can we link up to educate people on recovery and health?
So we started this two years ago about.
2 years ago.
And what's amazing is now people are coming to us asking us if they can be ambassadors for our brand. And that will happen for you too if you follow these steps.
It's the coolest thing of it all is that through this, because this was right when we were rebranding. We started rebranding in 2018 and we finished it in 2019, and we launched our Instagram page in May of 2018. So it was right in the middle of that, which was nerve-wracking because we were at the time even solidifying the sport and spine rehab brand. That's what people were tagging and talking about. And then we changed the name, right? And I was terrified. I mean, I was like, man, this is going to be the worst. And as it turns out, people were so bought into the process of the rebrand and the vibe of the clinics. People will like tag us on their Instagram when we put new like wall signage. When people come into our clinic, they mention us. We get like 23, 25 mentions a day of people who just come into our clinic and they just tag us. And that's free advertising. But more than that, it's them vouching for you and elevating themselves by being associated with you.
100%. Because as we know, one of the most important elements of marketing to the consumer is really about elevated status. People want their status to be raised when they associate with certain brands. And that's a Seth Godin thing. That doesn't come from Jay or Lucas. It comes from like literally the world's best marketing guru in Seth Godin. So very, very important. Should we go on to the next slide?
So then you add, okay, so to be specific, right, to give you guys like, this is what you need to post to make this work and not just be abstract so you leave this very inspired, but without any kind of idea on how to execute this. Just keep it real, tear down the walls, show people, don't be afraid to show people exactly what you do. Because I hate to break this to you, but your adjustments are not that groundbreaking and your soft tissue therapy is not that groundbreaking. There's lots of other people doing it. What's groundbreaking and new is your relationship with your patients, is their experience here. And to the point of the testimonials that we talked about before, how like they're boring and all that. Why are they boring? They're boring because that person is talking about the end result, right? Like if someone tells you, oh, I invested in this and made $100,000. The first thing you think is like, okay, well, I'm not you. I don't have that investment. I don't have that. You start thinking of all these barriers as to why you're not going to get the same result as they are. But if you see a video of someone scraping, getting adjusted, doing rehab, and it looks good, right? It looks relieving and it looks soothing. That's what you want the experience. You don't necessarily want the end result. And I know that's a little counterintuitive, right? Because all these marketing books will tell you, sell them on the end result, sell them on the end game of purchasing and consuming this. I think when it comes to social media, especially, you need to show them the actual experience versus the end result.
Yeah, I mean, I would go to Lucas at the very beginning of our working together, and I'd be like, hey, Lucas, man, we should do some testimonials. And Lucas like, yeah, we can do that, or we can do this other thing, and I think it's going to work better. And he was right. So now I just listen to Lucas.
So here, for instance, this is an example of one of our training clients. She came in as a patient. She did her treatment. She wanted to run marathons, started working out with our fitness guy, Lothar here, the outrageously good-looking guy in the picture. And sure enough, now she's all those medals. Those are all marathons that she's run ever since. And you notice here at the bottom, you see the little dots. So you know there's a carousel type post. And again, I am a huge supporter of carousel. And I think anything you do on Instagram should be carousel because people love the swipe and instantly consume more of that which they're looking at that very moment. So keep it real, show people, don't have them just talk, just show them doing the things. So this is one example. We have a couple of other ones. And actually, you see here the comments, right? Like these are patients of ours, right? Actually, Ferris works here, but you see, this is awesome. Peace, let's get it. You have another one with the mobility challenge. Now, this is our clinic director, right? This is a very serious guy. Next thing you know, he's barefoot on the floor, contorting himself, trying to get this bar to like flip over his head. And it's hilarious. And it really breaks down this barrier of healthcare provider, patient. We're all part of the here Kaizo family, same way for you and your practice. And again, special detail, the comments, right? You notice people commenting, tagging their friends, people saying, when did you start hiring ninjas? Again, this guy's not a patient. He's nobody. He just follows our page and he sees this and he's like, oh, wow, you guys. So they start interacting and engaging, tagging their friends. All of this is free advertising for you. Another one on the note of breaking down the walls. This is one of our staff treating our doctor, right? And a lot of patients see this and they recognize Dr. Katie. They're like, oh, that's my doctor. Oh, and I recognize the rehab specialist as well. So it really adds this layer of behind the scenes that people really, really enjoy and make you feel so real and relatable. Again, this is a message we got from one of our interns. On the one hand, you can just receive that message and be like, hey, thanks so much, man, it was great. But what do? We screenshot that and we post it to our story. We want to share these stories with people. We want people to know that working here is awesome and that it's a great atmosphere. And yeah, we miss him and we want to post that, but at the same time, it's strengthening our brand and the experience of our own employees here. Same with reviews. Going back to the first thing I talked about, right? The Google My Business reviews. Not only is this showing the world that we got a positive review, but how do you think Ebony feels when she sees this on the Instagram? It's like, oh my God, they shared my review. This is so cool. It makes her time worthwhile as well. She feels validated for having taken the effort to do that. Another one of our patients just posts this, and we know that she came in for a bumped shoulder. So boom, there you go. You just screenshot that and throw that on your story. Obviously, you ask them about it first, but at this point, you have relationships with these people where they're thrilled to get a free shout out on your page, right? And that's the paradigm shift is you're the one now highlighting your patients versus trying to convince them to come to your clinic. Coming to your clinic is now a privilege rather than you trying to convince someone to do it. Last but not least, again, just showing adjustments, relatable. Case of the Mondays, come in, we got your fix. So last but not least, we wanted to make sure that you guys walked out of here with really actionable items. So we're gonna give you guys a 30-day action plan. Now, first of all, we'll email all of you guys the branding guide that I mentioned a little bit earlier. Please take the time to work through this. Don't just jot down stuff. Make sure you're asking your staff. Ask your spouse and friends who have known you and have known your practice. The more feedback and input you can get, the better it will be, because how you perceive your practice may not be how your close people perceive your practice, and may not be how the community perceives your practice. So that's the number one thing. We'll email that to you. Get cooking on that. The next webinar, a month from now, we'll show you guys the date and details once we have that figured out, will be specifically about brand and about building your brand for your practice. So that's number one. Number two is we want to challenge you guys to do a next level testimonial video, okay? So you know what not to do, and if you can't remember, just search hashtag chiropractic, and I'm sure you'll find one very quickly. But find one of essentially detailing the experience of your patient. Find a patient that you like, that likes you, that wouldn't mind being on camera, and film their treatment. Film your interaction with them. Film them laughing or grimacing or being like, wow, their adjustment was the best, or wow, that actually hurt a little bit. It's real. It's real. Just have that there and connect with people on that level.
And so maybe instead of testimonial video, maybe it's more about an experience video, yes?
Yes, that's actually a better way of thinking about it, because testimony kind of implies that they're talking about, testifying about it. Right. So yes, an experience video. Sorry, I should have put that in there. You're right. And last but not least, and again, notice how I put this third, because you can trying to do the third without thinking about your brand first and without really getting close to your patients in this content creation dynamic. Bringing in a micro-influencer is not going to do anything. You're just going to be giving away free services. So once you've worked with your patients, your team, thought about your brand, take some time to look around your digital community, so to speak. Again, look for, the things that you like to treat, right? Whether it's corporate offices or anything, find someone who has some pull in that community through digital channels. And again, I really encourage you guys to explore Instagram as much as you can and just reach out to them, send them a message. Hey, my name is Dr. Joe Smith, and I love the work that you're doing. I would love to meet you in person, bring you into my clinic, and maybe offer you some of my services free of charge, something like that. And then when they come in, you obviously have a contract with them, and you talk about, if you're going to come in regularly, this is what we expect from you, this is what you can expect from us. Those are very important too, because you don't want to just get caught in this hamster wheel of providing free services and expecting them to do you a favor. It's not a favor, it's a partnership.
Exactly.
And that's the dynamic that you have to establish from the very beginning. But believe me when I say that they want your service way more than you can imagine. People at gyms, at dance studios, whatever, pole dancing classes, running clubs, whatever it may be, they're in pain. All of us, I mean, if you exercise, you have some pain. And again, there's research supporting maintenance chiropractic as well. So guys, do these 3, okay? You have 30 days. And as always, if you have any questions or anything like that, email either Dr. J, you can email customer service. I'll drop my email too in the follow-up email. And we'll be happy to help you guys. We're never shy about getting on a call with you and just troubleshooting that with you guys.
Cool. So that was awesome. You are a rock star, dude. It's unbelievable. Like I said, I learn every time I sit in a room with this guy. It's amazing. I am going to see if I can find the chat function. If you guys have access to the chat function, John, I'm going to unmute you.
Yep, we have access. In the bottom of your screen, you should see a chat with a little speech bubble icon. Anyone can click that.
Yeah, so if you guys have any questions, please let us know. Thanks, T-Bone. Appreciate you, brother. If you have any questions, let us know. Otherwise, we'll wait like another minute or 2, but otherwise we'll hop off. We'll send you out information about next month's webinar. Lucas and I are going to continue this series for the next 2 months, and then we're going to take a shift and we're going to start to talk about the chiropractic entrepreneur framework. So that's going to be super exciting. I'm very excited about that. Okay, guys, well, no questions are coming in, so thank you so much for joining us today, and make sure that you be on the lookout for the next webinar in the series, and we will talk to you soon. Bye now.
Thanks, guys.